Hello and welcome back to Favorite Things. My name is Dan and I thank you again for joining me. In the last year, I've slimmed down my watch collection from 13 to 8 watches in my rotation, and it's mostly due to my aggressive purging of my field watch sub-collection. I want to slim it down just a little bit more, but I want to do so at a slow and steady rate because I don't want to create a vacuum that I know I will fill with some impulse purchases. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. And I also want to avoid the dreaded seller's remorse. So come with me along this journey. I'll talk to you about my plans as I get ready for my upcoming State of the Collection 2024 video. In the past, I have had a one-watch rotation, and of course it has its pros and cons. Am I ready for it again? I'm not sure. But what does feel right to me right now is to have fewer watches. But how do I get there? What to sell first? For Christmas, my brother-in-law got me this handy 6-slot watch display box. He has no idea how great a gift this was because it's given me a perfectly attainable goal for my collection. And what de-stresses me is that, fortunately, I'm in no hurry. Thankfully, I haven't been thinking about adding any watches to my collection, but I have spent a lot of time on mentally planning the slimming down of my collection. A new sub-hobby is planning various combinations for what I call the terminal or exit watch collections. For example, here's a 4-watch core collection: Explorer, Ranchero, Hamilton, and Seamaster. Here's a 3-watch collection: Explorer, Hamilton, Admiralty. So here you've got a high-value all-around grail piece, the Explorer, a modern robust beater, the Hamilton, and a mid-value luxury vintage sports watch. So each of these watches have different hands and a dial. Each has different functions, but all are very legible with their white on black dials and one of each of my favorite 3 brands. Or here's another option for a 3-watch collection: the Explorer, the Hamilton, and the Seamaster. Again, one of each of my favorite brands and a very good variety across the board. How about a 2-watch collection: Explorer and Admiralty for vast variety, or the Rolex Explorer and Hamilton Khaki Field 38 for some variety, but both are modern and waterproof and they have sapphire crystals. How about another option for a 2-watch collection: the Railmaster and the Hamilton? They're both modern, robust watches. They're the same size, so I won't be comparing one size to the other. One is an everyday/beater watch. The other one is a special luxury limited edition vintage reissue for special occasions kind of a thing. Or how about this? The Hamilton and the Ranchero. Both can technically be easily worn on straps and bracelets. And what about the 1-watch collection? Well, it has to be something legible and robust enough for daily wearing. So Explorer or Hamilton 38, we'll just have to see. But how do I get there? Well, one brave idea is to list the whole bottom half of my collection and just wait and see what happens. In other words, leave it to fate. It's kind of radical, but it's also very exciting. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that quite yet. The thing to remember is that you don't need to forever own these pieces in order to enjoy them. I wear them, service them, photograph them, travel with them, and do videos with them. And when I fall out of love, I sell them. Marie Kondo wisely suggests that when it no longer brings you joy, thank the object and then say goodbye. I have a lengthy gallery of watches that I really like, but many of them I've never owned, but frankly don't need to either. Kind of like my virtual collection. Maybe I'll list them in a future video. When considering whether to keep a watch or not, factors that I give serious consideration to are the following. Number 1, the joy of wearing the watch and looking at it. And this, I think, is the most common for most collectors. This certainly includes sympathetic factors such as memories you had with each watch, but also how they fit your style and personality. One of the things not talked about much, but I like this quality of a timepiece, is the sound of the movement when you hold it up to your ear. How loud is it? What does it sound like? What's the timbre? And also, what's the velocity of the ticking? Number 2, value versus risk time ratio. I have some inexpensive watches that I don't wear often, but they don't carry much monetary value, so I'm not as motivated to sell them. However, high-value pieces that don't get much wrist time are more likely to be sold sooner. My Omega Railmaster trilogy is at risk in this regard. Number 3, ease and enjoyment of operation of the watch. How easy is it to wind the watch and set the time, and also the strap or bracelet functions? For example, my Rolex Explorer 114270. The 3130 movement has this quirky tendency to rebound when setting the minute hand. If the Explorer didn't have so many other positives, this would be a major issue. I'm curious if the minute hand bounce will improve after service, but from what I've read, I'm not expecting it to. But I'm a comparison guy. I'm comparing and contrasting watches on almost all of my videos. As I looked at my watch box, I saw a number of near duplicates. I think it was YouTuber Jeff McMahon who wisely said that duplicates in your collection tend to cancel each other out, and that makes a lot of sense. Personally, however, I find another problem with duplicates. I obsessively compare similar watches as soon as I put one of them on, such as the Railmaster versus the Ranchero, Big Hamilton Khaki versus the Little Hamilton, the Blue Omega Genève 041 versus the Genève Admiralty, and even the Explorer versus the Railmaster, and sometimes the Explorer versus the Ranchero. This unbreakable habit bothers me as I find it quite distracting from the pure enjoyment of watch ownership. So at least for me, I think a good place to start in slimming down the collection is to eliminate one member of these similar pairs, and I'll end up with a more stress-free and more varied watch rotation. I know this works for me because when I sold my Incipio 8 Explorer Homage, there were no more comparisons between it and my Explorer, and it was very liberating. And of course, the first to go in these pairs is the one that I'm falling out of love with the soonest. The last watch standing will likely be the Explorer. Because after all, if I need a beater watch, that could be a mobile phone or just an empty wrist, to be honest. So I'm going to start a video series called Tough Choices, in which I will explore with you the decision-making process of letting these watches go. And I will release those videos in order of my readiness to let those watches go on and leave my collection. So please stay tuned for those videos and to other upcoming content. As always, I certainly invite and appreciate your feedback, and I make it a regular habit to read and respond to all comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.